Well, we're at the end of another trading day, and just like yesterday, it started out lower in the overnight and then took off in the morning. And right now, we're with Maree Johnson of agmarket.net. And Maree, it's been interesting the last 2 days. It starts out lower overnight, like I said, and goes higher. Is that what we see to kind of end the day here again today?
Correct. So, really, with the exception of July corn, we are actually green across the board for a change, which is pretty nice. July corn finished off a penny and a quarter at 414 and a quarter. Just can't get a foothold there. I think that speaks to how much old crop corn is out there. December finished modestly higher, a penny and a half at 443 and a quarter. Beans is where the real story was today. We had some talk early this morning that maybe China was in looking for some new crop bean bids. That doesn't mean any business was transacted, but it certainly sparked the markets back to a little bit of life. July up 10 and a quarter, November up 10 and three quarters was nice to see. Some green in the cattle markets as well, and then hogs finished lower.
And looking at those markets, I mean, obviously, you said China looking to buy anything would be good news because we have this agreement. But again, it's a handshake agreement. So, I mean, it's really hard to enforce and determine when China is actually going to do any moves. And, this time of year, normally they're not buying from us, correct?
Absolutely. The last couple of years prior to tariffs going into effect, it was mid to late summer where we really saw China come in and start purchasing new crop soybeans. They can do it very quickly, and 25 million metric tons wouldn't be a tall order. I anticipate they're going to wait for the last possible moment to get those purchases done. But any time would be within normal. I think for the soybeans. Corn is a little bit of a different story. Historically, they've only come in and bought U.S. corn when they've absolutely needed it. We think they do, but the timing isn't quite as clear when they might start inquiring about those purchases.
Now, one thing also you're talking about the fact that July corn, talking about the fact that there's so much old crop out there. I do our basis reports, and I've seen a few notes on some of these websites with these elevators saying that it almost sounds like they're practically begging farmers to bring in some corn because they're in need to fill out some train loads or some barge loads, but yet their prices aren't matching it. Is that a trend we see this time of year?
I think it's a trend that has been amplified over the last 2 weeks of board movement. You have a farmer that in some areas is still really trying to finish up in the field, whether it's spraying or baling hay. We're right on the doorstep of county fairs starting up, those kinds of activities. And you've got a market that has fallen off tremendously. So I think some of these farmers are putting their heads in the sand, finding other things to keep them busy. The problem is going to be as summer starts to wind down and we have a crop coming on, what's basis going to look like then when everyone is just emptying bins out?
All right, moving over to livestock. You said cattle had another positive day. I know earlier this morning when I was watching it, it was like it got shot out of a cannon once again. What's the mover there? Is it just business as usual with this cattle market right now?
I think so. I haven't really seen anything that would suggest there's been a fundamental change. Today's board action was pretty substantial, so we'll be doing a little bit more checking into that. You've got the June contract back up near contract highs. It gets hard for me at this point to tell a guy not to do something. If he's utilizing futures or options or something like an LRP contract to manage risk, this sure feels like it might be a good time to take a look.
And then on the hog side of things, I mean, it's just been they've been kind of just trying to hang on to whatever footing they can get. I mean, is there any looking into the future where we could maybe see a turnaround, or what's causing this pressure?
Technically, we're certainly down near looks like lows from last fall in the hogs, to just try and find some footing here. It's interesting with the rest of the protein markets with cattle going higher that hogs can't catch a break, but hopefully we find some support here at old lows and we can make a turnaround.
All right, Mary. Well, we covered a lot of ground here today. If folks want to look at some of the intel that you shared with us, maybe get some more in-depth ideas of what they should be looking at for marketing strategies and what they should be looking at in their situation, if they're one of those holding on to that old crop grain right now, what's the best way for them to get the conversation started?
Sure, they can absolutely reach out directly to me at 641-638-6090, or they can check out any of our brokers at agmarket.net.
All right, Maree Johnson's been with us here today from agmarket.net. Thanks so much for the insight. We'll talk again soon.
Thank you.